Picture yourself in the Great Barrier Reef, Australia. Breathtaking beauty, right? One of the 7 wonders of the natural world. Sea stars, turtles, mollusks, dolphins and whales. What if I told you it is dying? I'm Tosis, a professional diver in Queensland, who swims in the Great Barrier Reef. This could be a video to attract tourists. It really could, but it isn't. I made it to warn you the threats the Great Barrier Reef is facing. It all sums up into one thing: coral bleaching. That's when coral whitens. Let's take a quick look at it. This is a normal coral, and this is a bleached one. To understand the causes and consequences of this problem, I need to explain how coral reefs are formed. This happens with a mutualistic relationship between the corals and the photosynthetic algae called zooxanthellae that live in their tissues. The coral gives a protected environment to the algae, as well as compounds they need for photosynthesis. In return, the algae supplies it with glucose, glycerol, and oxygen, the products of photosynthesis, which the coral uses to make proteins, fats, carbohydrates, and calcium carbonate. This makes it easier to do a tight nutrient recycle in nutrient-poor waters. Zooxanthellae are also responsible for the beautiful, unique colors of stony corals. When corals become physically stressed, the polyps expel their algal cells and the colony starts to have a white appearance. This is coral bleaching. Corals are stressed out because of many reasons, such as pollution, overexposure to sunlight, and extreme low tides. But the main cause of this problem is climate change. But you might be wondering, is coral bleaching irreversible? Are the Great Barrier Reef corals already dead? And my answer to you is not yet. If the polyps go for too many years without zooxanthellae, bleaching can result in their death. So, if we don't do something about it, the biggest coral reef in the world will be gone by 2028. And who does that affect? Well, the Great Barrier Reef supports at least 1,500 fish species, 4,000 species of mollusks, and at least 240 bird species, as well as thousands of other marine creatures. Bleaching makes corals vulnerable to different types of algae, disease, and death. But it doesn't just have negative effects on coral communities. They also impact fish communities and the human communities that depend on coral reefs. In addition, the Australian government has said the reef contributes in at least 6.4 billion Australian dollars a year to the economy, and that at least 64,000 people have jobs that depend on the reef. Yeah, there are a lot of people relying on the Great Barrier Reef. Brazil, aware of the bleaching issue, designed an action plan for the coral reef's conservation in 2015 with Chico Mendes Conservation Biodiversity Institute to reduce anthropic impacts. The complete implementation is due by 2021, and it focuses on the Brazilian coral reef, of course. Fun fact, it is the second biggest coral reef in the entire world, right after the Great Barrier Reef. There are many stakeholders on the problem, people interested or concerned about it. One of the most important ones is the Great Barrier Reef Marine Park Authority. This agency manages the protection of the Great Barrier Reef, prescribing which activities are permitted and prohibited there. One of their projects is the Reef 2050 plan that consists in targets, actions, objectives, and outcomes to drive short-term and long-term management to the Great Barrier Reef. Another one is the Association of Marine Park Tourism Operators. AMPTO is the industry body for marine tourism within the Great Barrier Reef. Therefore, it represents their beliefs from federal state ministers on the tourism matters and ecological issues. The company works closely with GBRMPA to improve the reef's management. A third one is Ecotourism Australia, that inspires culturally respectable and sustainable ecotourism. They have many certification programs, such as the Climate Action Certification, for all sectors of tourism to reduce carbon emissions. All of these stakeholders work together for the same thing: keeping the Great Barrier Reef alive and beautiful. But I don't think that's just up to them. It's up to the Queensland's population, government and to tourists that visit all year long. For this reason, I propose both short and long-term solutions to stop coral bleaching. For short term, I believe every person visiting the Great Barrier Reef, as well as its residents, should know the risks it is facing. Professional divers like me can, from now on, start passing information about that. This way, we'll be able to decrease pollution in Queensland, one cause of coral bleaching. I don't believe people will keep polluting if they know exactly what it is causing. We would still need to do something about climate change, and that's the long-term solution. A big project to reduce gas emissions. For it to work, there will need to be a lot of effort and money. Firstly, Australian industries need to stand up against coal and fossil fuels and invest in renewables. This is known as carbon offsetting, and it would reduce the carbon footprint. These industries should encourage employees to do the same and change their habits, switching to public transportation, for example. Like that, piece by piece, we can reverse the current climate change issue. There's still hope for Australia's most amazing treasure. With your help, we can save the Great Barrier Reef. Thank you.